And go. What's up, guys? After a week hiatus, we are back with episode 5.
Episode 5.
The Freak Show. Ty had to go on a side quest back to his homelands, pick up some really sweet Slater equipment for the gym. Would you get a log and some farmer's frames?
Yeah, we got a 12 by 6 log, weighs 185, and then we got farmer's handles. So
one of the commenters noted that those will probably be shelf princesses. But I'll have you know, we already have a competition on the books using the Slater log. So
yeah, if anyone's in the area, jump into our Tennessee Hills Big Money Log Lift Challenge. You can win $250 for biggest log lift or biggest coefficient.
Fucking nerds. Bringing nerdism to damn strong, man. Oh, man. Anyway, I digress. We're back. So, Ty actually came up with a little concept, and we want you guys to play along here. So, we are going to go through a few lifting disciplines and, associate what brand of cigarettes said discipline with smoke. And Ty, actually, this was like one of the first ideas he had for the podcast, and we've been kind of putting it off because the way it was worded at first, it didn't really strike me, but we kind of formulated a better plan for it. So, Ty, what kind of cigarettes would bodybuilders smoke and why?
All right, yeah. So this is just
is for fun.
This is making fun of stereotypes. That's the goal of this, is to make fun of stereotypes. I got this idea from Jim Wendler, although he was doing that at Elite FTS and just picking his his coworkers instead of obscure people, so people were upset, but I thought it was pretty funny. So, what cigarettes would the stereotypical bodybuilder go with? I'm gonna go with Marlboro Reds. Only reason, because I don't think that most bodybuilders are actually tough enough to smoke Marlboro Reds, but Marcus Rule smoked Marlboro Reds, and everyone's seen those videos of him just being like a behemoth walking through the grocery store.
The ultimate freak.
And then he walks outside and smokes cigarettes, and that's how he stays lean. So I'm saying people have been watching way too many 90s bodybuilding videos, and they want to be Marcus Rule even though they're 200 pounds lighter than him and probably 10% fatter.
Fucking Marlboro Reds, Marlboro Reds and tuna shake.
Yeah, tuna shake.
Oh man, I love Marcus. Funny story about Marcus Rule. Back in the day when I used to read the muscle magazines, he would usually be like one of the people in the back, like that was used for promoting protein powders, and it'd be like, oh, I gained 25 pounds of muscle, drinking this chocolate ice cream protein powder that tastes just like chocolate ice cream, and there he is all big and jacked in front of it. And, back then you're kind of naive and you don't know no better. And protein powder back then tasted like ass. Like it was awful. And just these things, people make false claims now. Holy shit, back then when nobody had these avenues to check people and say, no, oh my God. and we were naive back then. We didn't know any better. But yeah, it was terrible. Anyway, along those same lines, Marlboro Lights. Because they still, they want to be the Marlboro Reds, putting in the hard work, but they're watching their figure and diet. So let me go with the Marlboro Lights, take a little bit of the edge out.
Yeah, can't quite go to cowboy killers yet.
Yeah. So Marlboro Lights for me. What do we think about Olympic weightlifters?
I think Olympic weightlifters are going to be that dude that's like, those, they're gonna have like hand-rolled cigarettes from like France with the long like cigarette holder. They're like, ooh,
like the Cruella de Vil.
Yes,
yeah.
With their kilo plates and their 2004's Adidas tracksuits, and everyone just screaming in Russian. So.
That's so stereotypical. that's everybody being quiet while they lift.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, their butlers there with their ashtray.
I really can't counter that. I was thinking in my mind, like, I was going to go one step further, though. It was going to be like organic tobacco that they play like orchestral violin music while it's growing. And
if you use the tobacco from France, it doesn't have the chemicals. It's actually good for you.
And like they have 12-year-olds delicately hand-picking it, out of the fields before they get it. Strongman.
Yeah, my people. If you can't make fun of yourself, who can you make fun of? So I'm going to go for strongman. They're definitely smoking Virginia Slims while they twirl their little mustache and wear their skirts. I'm not anti-kilt, but if you're not Scottish, why are you wearing it? So I always call them the skirt wearers. So I think that especially the like stone lifter centric
like
strongman,
the Highland Games
yeah,
type
like
people.
back in the day they didn't have barbells, bro. We just got big on rocks, and so those guys are the hipsters of the strength community.
Throwing hay with the pitchforks.
Yeah, they're doing Virginia Slims or American Spirits or something that that makes them feel like they're better than everybody else.
Oh, see, I had Marlboro Reds for strongman, and I was going to give strongman credit. Just going out there, working hard, getting it done, no matter, stones, no problem, logs, no problem, farmers carries handles, no problem, uneven this or that, no problem, cowboy killer, just light it, keep
Hell
going.
yeah.
So yeah, see, that just goes to show Ty picking at his own people, and here I was holding them in a little bit higher regard. But
everyone hates their own.
there you go. If you can't make fun of yourself, who can you make fun of?
Right.
Influencers.
Dude, they are way too pretty and way too optimal to be smoking cigarettes. So we are on Juuls for sure. Or maybe Zens. Like, it's definitely
Zen's
something
definitely the thing now,
that
I
is
feel like.
tobacco free for sure. And they're going to be smoking their Juul pods, and it looks like they're deep throating a USB thumb drive.
See, I had Virginia Slim ultra light menthols for influencers.
Or like Camel Crushes or something.
Well, I had this specifically because that's what my mom smoked when I was a kid, and she weighed like 145 pounds. And that's about what the size of the influencers are. So I had them smoking my mom's cigarettes because they're the same size.
Oh, don't cancel us in the comment section.
I've been going hard to get that. If y'all haven't seen my last video, go watch it. Multiply powerlifting.
That's just meth. I mean, those guys, they've
Don't cancel us. That's meth.
They've jumped the shark, man. You've been to a multiply powerlifting show.
We've been
some wild times.
And see, I was gonna say multiply powerlifting. They think they're the Marlboro Red smokers, but it's meth. It's like, oh yeah, that was definitely depth. Good job. Yeah. Dude, I'll load up 300 more pounds. I'll touch this time. I couldn't get 800 pounds to touch. That's why I can't lift it. Put on 1,100 pounds. That way I can make it touch.
Dude hasn't blinked since 2009 and he's been bleeding out of his ears every other day since.
Oh, so, back in the day, I'd get multiply. Like, it was the thing. It was the premier part of the sport. It's lost its way, in my opinion. If everybody has their preferences, by all means, do what makes you happy. At the end of the day, it's a hobby. But holy shit, it is hard to take seriously anymore.
I ironically love it because it's such a shit show. Like when we go to, because our gym hosts them, and it's just like you don't know what's going to happen because at any given time someone could just dump 9 on their face because they just you're right, the jumps and like the attempt selection are always just baffling.
Why? I know that first meet I did back after I lost weight, I just did bench only, and the way IPA does their flights, they put all the bench only guys together, whether
right.
they raw or multiply. Literally every multiply lifter in my entire flight missed every single attempt. None of them.
Hey guys, thanks for the cash. Kick rocks.
Like, I think there was 9 lifters in our bench press flight, and it took like an hour because when you're dropping 800, 900 pounds, and the spotters are having to pick it back up, unload, because when it goes back down to the beginning, and typically even if somebody's doing bench only, they just get cycled into whatever flight. The weight jumps work for it, but for whatever reason, IPA, all the bench only go in one flight, regardless of equipment. And, when people are doing bench only and multiply, they're not trying to build a total. Right. They're opening with their goal, so they have 3 shots.
3 shots to do it.
Which is the joke in Raw. It's like, oh, just open with your goal. That way you got 3 shots to do it, which is not good. That's not good practice for Raw. I guess if you're doing just a single lift, you can, but generally you want to build a total. But the multiply guys, in bench only specifically, they want the extra chance because shit goes. They miss by that much, and they missed the lift. So
yeah, no, it is a interesting way to lift. I think I love watching it. I mean, we had IPA Worlds. We hosted IPA Worlds this year. We had nosebleeds, we had ear bleeds, we had eye bleeds. That was a first. I saw someone.
We had a broken arm.
They thought they were crying. We saw a broken arm and came back and deadlifted with one hand. So like it was.
Which good for him, but you know.
He's like, no, brother, I need my total. Give me the bar. So I love the circus. Is why I like it. I've got a soft spot in my heart just because it's fun.
I'll say this: if the judging was more consistent, in multiply, by all means. I think at this point, and I've heard Dave Tate say this a lot, they need to just change the rules for multiply to make it fit whatever judging standards are going by now. Because the rule book still reads the same as raw, like the depth and everything and the lockout. But it seems like almost every big lift you see in multiply that's a squat is never to depth that's by the rule book, and almost every bench press that's a big, it's almost never all the way locked out. And you see a lot of soft knees on the deadlifts too, for what it's worth. But I think, you know, they should just change the rules at this point to fit whatever standards, because the standards aren't the old rule book anymore. I think, you know, and then at least that way people are still gonna bitch because they bitch about bench arches that are illegal and this and that. But at least that way you say, hey, I'm just playing by the rules.
Following the rules.
Yeah, and doing what I can.
What a side tangent off of multiply doing math.
Don't do drugs, kids. Speaking of drugs.
Oh, jeez.
Logan Dishman. He's a big one of these bench influencers, which I do not like this new batch of, you know, fucking Larry Wheels elbow wrap wearing bench influencers. I don't like it at all. But Logan Dishman has claimed to be like the strongest natural 17-year-old bench presser, blah, blah, blah. Constantly posting these dumbass lifts and with a sweater over his F8 or whatever shirt he's using. Elbow wraps, you know, 17-year-old benches 800 naturally, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff aside, turns out he's not natural. He's been exposed now for taking gear. And on top of this, he is hospitalized for irresponsible gear/needle use. And, you know, I even posted on my Instagram story a retort of his in a comment section on one of these reels that said, I just started using gear because I'm 17 years old and I'm about to be an adult and can make my own decisions. And then the very next day, he's in the hospital for making his own decisions involving drug use. I'm going to say this, and I've repeated it many times on the channel. I'm going to be dad, uncle, boomer here, whatever you want to call me. Gear use for 99% of people is a lifetime permanent decision. When you're 17 years old, you're not equipped to make permanent decisions like that. Honestly, I'll be 40 this year. When I was 30, I'm a completely different person now than I was then and see things completely different. Much less when I was 20, 15, 16, 17. The less permanent life-altering decisions you can make as a young kid, man, woman, the better you're going to be. Just point blank, period.
Yeah, I mean, we don't let 17-year-olds get tattoos without their parents' permission.
And thank you, Mom, for not letting me get tattoos when I was 12. I would look like a No Limit CD cover right now. Shout out to those that know.
But yeah, no, it's obviously it's unfortunate, and it's one of those things where it's just like, it's so very obvious that this person's whole shtick and their whole existence on social was very much driven by their gear use. Because he was fucking giant. Like, he was so big.
Yeah, he's
so big. He's like, you know, and it was this, you know, freak show type of thing that you couldn't help but watch, where he's just this giant human with this huge baggy sweatshirt that makes him look even bigger.
Right.
And then he just manhandles these weights.
With an F8. Or whatever brand of band shirt he was using.
Unless you're in the know, you don't know. And so these kids are watching him, and he's just blowing the fuck up. And I'm sure that obviously on him, he thinks, I have to, whatever.
And of course, when you're 17 and you start getting attention,
Yeah,
that's
I
even going to
wouldn't know how
feed
to
your ego even
handle
more.
that.
No, I wouldn't either.
So yeah, it's really sad. I mean, I'm obviously hope he's okay. He's able to kind of learn from this.
Well, plot twist. I don't know if you've seen, but even after he got back from the hospital, somebody screen recorded him on a Snapchat feed, pinning again. So it's if you're gonna learn a lesson, being hospitalized, you would hope would be that eye opener. Again,
maybe he at least learned to use clean needles. I don't know. I mean, goodness.
Jesus Christ.
You think that's a low hanging fruit?
I don't think anybody should be taking drugs at that age.
No.
To be honest, realistically, there's that arbitrary line in the sand number. You need to be this age before it's a little bit of a scale for everybody. Everybody's different. Training ages, this and that. When you're a grown ass man, you can make your own decisions, or grown ass woman. 17's not it for anybody. No. For anybody, and
I fucking idiot.
I've seen some commentary saying, well, they're going to do it anyway, so there should be education out there for at least to do it safely, and I kind of see that, but I really would rather see discouragement of use at that age in particular. Again, everybody's a fucking idiot at 17 years old. I thought I was grown at 17. I got kicked out of my house. I was not grown. I thought I was then. Looking back now, it's clear I was very immature and irresponsible. And that, again, that's not choices one should be making at 17 years old. And, it's kind of an epidemic now. You're seeing a lot of teenagers, on gear. I don't have TikTok. But I've seen people share TikToks on Instagram Reels, and there seems to be an epidemic of teenage steroid use because they're trying to, influencer is their job goal.
That's the number one. When they ask like kindergartners or like fifth graders, what the number, what do you want to be with your grow up? The number one answer is influencer or YouTuber.
Right. And when we were growing up, when I was growing up, I'm a little bit older than Ty. We were preached like go to college, doctor, lawyer, this and that. Of course, we wanted to be athletes. Most people like me, it was baseball players, football players, things of that nature that we aspired to be. And you kind of, that weeds itself out for a lot of people once you hit puberty and you're playing sports and you realize, oh, maybe I'm not quite talented enough to do all that.
I'm 5'8". I'm not going to make the league.
I wanted to be in the NBA. Like, that was my dream job, NBA basketball player. I didn't quite reach 6 foot. I've got these short arms, and wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. And I ended up having to find my way into logistics is where I ended up at. And I don't, everybody talks about it, of course, nobody's offering solutions. I don't have the solution either. I try to obviously be a good role model for my son and, teach him sort of the rights and wrongs and kind of toe that line between, there's got to be a little bit, you got to let him fuck around and find out. Not taking drugs, of course. Right. You want to prevent that, but, you got to... Like with my son in particular, little quick story. He's got some digestive issues. He has some food allergies. So I have to monitor what he eats pretty well, and he eats pretty clean for the most part. But when he goes to his friend's house and stays the night, I let him, when in Rome, he knows what he's allergic to and he can't have. But there's some snacks and stuff that we typically don't have, but I let him have when he's over there. And the very first time he went over there, he went buck wild on it, and he came back and he had the shits and he had a hurt stomach, and he was off for like a week. And I asked him, I said, well, what'd you eat over there? I said, you're not in trouble, just tell me. And he said, oh, I drank like 6 Dr. Peppers, and I had 2 bags of candy and 6 bags of ramen noodles. And I was like, well, you see what I say? Yeah. And so now he has the same freedom to make his own choices when he goes over there. He makes a lot better decisions now because he experienced that for himself. Whereas I could tell him, for years that I don't let you do that because it's going to make you feel bad. But without him doing that and experiencing that, he wouldn't understand it as much. So you try to find that balance. Again, you can't like, oh, here, take the steroids so you can see the bad side effects and find out. But there are some good positive influences out there. Doing things the right way that people can look up to. But there's just and it's not just the next generation. It's humanity kind of in general. It's that instant gratification, and I think that's the main thing now. And now we're all so connected with social media, whereas before, unless you were heavy into gym culture or something like that, you might not even ever see anybody on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you see somebody in passing, but you don't know they are.
Right, you think they're natural and they're jacked and huge.
I thought John Paul Sigmarsson was natural. I was a little 7-8-year-old kid watching World's Strongest Man. It was on ESPN. They had all these, anti-steroid messages out back then and stuff. And I didn't know. Same thing reading the Muscle magazine. I didn't know Marcus Rule was on steroids when I was seeing it. I was like, oh, he's taking that protein powder. I'm going to get that protein powder.
Right.
And, now we do know, and now we see and they're like, well, he's on steroids. I'm going to get on steroids so I can get famous because I want to be an influencer in the fitness space.
Yeah. I'm not a dad, so don't listen to any shit I said. But, you want to go on to our next drug talk? You just call this the Dare Cast at this point. Say no to drugs, kids.
Well, we'll move right along. There's been a lot of current events happening. So, Ray Williams failed a drug test. Now, it's...
I heard a little bit about this, but fill us in because I'm not completely in the know. So
your first thing is, oh, I knew it! He was a fake natty! We caught his ass! We got him! But he failed for a stimulant. It was... DMHA, which is legal over the counter, but it is a banned substance by WADA, and he tested positive for it at PA Nationals. So it's one of those things, and DMHA is what ended up replacing DMAA.
And that was in Jack 3?
DMAA was like the old pre-workouts.
They were like killing people.
They were one molecule away from being meth.
Right.
The best I can remember. But DMHA was kind of the replacement for that when DMAA was banned. And again, it's legal. Anybody can go buy it. It's in a lot of pre-workouts. And it's effective. But WADA has their own set of rules. It's not just what's like legal for recreational use means it's legal to take in competition. Right. So he failed for that.
Is he claiming like tainted sup or?
He on his Instagram he posted that he was stupid and he made a mistake because it probably wasn't a pre-workout.
Right.
I haven't seen if he said like exactly what pre-workout he was taking or whatever. If it was something that wasn't on the label or if it was something he didn't read the label or whatever the case may be. Which it's important for people at that level. There are brands that say, hey, we're third-party tested, and there's some label, I forget what exactly the label is, and I feel like I should know this because I compete drug tested, but I really don't take a lot of supplements. But there's a label, I think it might be like drug-free sports certified or something, and honestly, these supplements will charge more because they have that on their label.
Of course.
But, if you're at that level of competition, that's probably something you should be paying a little extra for to make sure. So I don't know the case whether he it was a supplement that it wasn't labeled or it was and he just didn't look at the label or whatever the case may be.
What's the fallout going to be for him?
I think it's a 16-month suspension, somewhere along those lines. But he's suspended for 6 months, something of that nature.
I assume his total didn't count.
Yeah, he's disqualified from that meet. And he'll serve a suspension, which he's handling it probably the best way somebody should. He said, "Hey, I was stupid. I'll be back. I'll be better than ever." Which what more are you going to say? Any more explanation, and you're like, "Oh, ha ha! You lying son of a bitch! He's trying to make the excuses," whether you're telling the truth or not.
Dude, you should have put his statement out on his store, so you have to give your
right,
your email just like the Hoop Man.
right. But
I'm gonna bring that up forever because this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
You know, back in the day, Jesse Norris failed a drug test, and it was for a stimulant.
Yeah.
But you know, there's always people wanting to see the downfall at the highest level, and they're just waiting for a failed drug test to happen because everybody is on drugs according to them. And I'm not naive. There's certainly people in drug-tested federations that are cheating and getting around tests. To what degree? That's where I think the debate lies. I would concede some, I think is a good word. Some people are cheating. I'm not going to say most. You could maybe say a lot. I don't know. I think
like 30-40%. Like, what do you
at
the highest level? Obviously not like
at the very highest level of drug tested powerlifting. If I were to ballpark it, I would, and I'm going to take the easy route. I'm going to probably say between 10 and 40% is what I don't think half of the people are cheating, and I certainly don't think the majority of people are cheating because we have untested options,
right?
And we've seen time and time again. John Hack, Jamal Browner actually failed a drug test and then went to untested. But we've seen them go from tested to untested, and they were already being accused of being fake natty. But then when they go full untested, their total absolutely explodes, and it's like, oh, maybe he was telling the truth because here we thought he was fake natty, and now he's totaling 300 pounds more within 2 years.
Right.
So
yeah, it's like the Ronnie Coleman effect when he claims to be on the Olympia stage his first year natural because he was like 225 and everyone's like, no way.
Right.
And then he blew up in 2 years
to
300 pounds. You
go,
maybe.
And some people are built different. And again, if you refer to my last video, the genetically elites are going to the NFL, to Major League Baseball, to the NBA. And even when you water it down further, strongman probably gets more of the upper echelon of genetics than something like powerlifting. Weightlifting gets more of the upper echelon of genetics than powerlifting. Bodybuilding, to a degree, the open bodybuilding, once you get down to the lesser things, genetics become muscle insertions.
It's a different type of genetics.
But we're not getting that genetic cream of the crop. Every now and then we get some outliers, and I still think the potential for powerlifting hasn't been tapped into. I think if not even necessarily NFL caliber players, but like D1 collegiate football players, some basketball players, just because they have that big frame, and if they were to
fill it out,
go to something like strongman or powerlifting instead of basketball, you would see even more impressive performances. So I think it's pretty easy for me to say that I think the majority of tested lifters are actually drug-free, just because the talent pool has expanded a lot since 2010, but we're still not even at the upper echelon or close to it, in my opinion. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously, even if you think it's a dumb rule, it's still a rule.
Right.
And you have to follow it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure that it sounds like, Ray seems like a really good guy. I'm sure that it seems like something that was a mistake. He just, again, especially with powerlifting, I don't know if there's anything in place where you can because I know with like the big sports, you can call and be like, hey, is this legal? Like, can Ray Williams even call WADA and be like, yo?
Well, I mean, he can go on WADA's list, and I mean, the list is public of what the banned substance is.
Right, but I'm saying like a supplement specific, like call in this supplement because like if it's not,
well, I mean,
there's ingredient, like
you've got to
there's
read the
ingredients that are
labels.
Wrong. Or they have like blends
proprietary
or whatever.
Blends. You got to stay away from that
shit like that. Yeah, I guess you just have to be like, that's not for me.
And then also, I know I posted a thread a long time ago, and I think it was on Facebook, and I got it from Mike Kudleski, which he's IPF gold medalist in deadlift, and somebody I talk to frequently on Facebook. He's a fucking dickhead, but he's been around and he knows his shit, and there's actually been several studies on tainted supplements, and due to the nature of manufacturing, a lot of supplements are manufactured in China, and I think they tested, and it came out to like a not the majority, but it was like a not insignificant percentage of supplements. I want to say like 20 or 30% in some of these studies were tainted because they're just produced on the same line,
right?
And that line doesn't get cleaned after the Deca or D-ball goes off of it.
Right.
They just lightly dust it off, and then the next, the creatine or whatever goes on and comes down that line, and some of it gets mixed in, and that's, picograms. I remember, that was a thing with John Jones in UFC. He was probably maybe a little bit into some nefarious things there, but it is a legit thing. Like tainted supplements, I know it's become a meme and a joke, but it happens, and it's not an insignificant number in these studies that showed quite a bit of tainted supplements happens for that reason, just because of the cleaning of it, and that's why these third party or these brands of drug free approved or whatever the branding is can make a difference. No, I don't think you can call the USAPL or IPF and say, hey, is this name, this supplement, blah, 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 good or no good. You kind of have to read the labels and do your own due diligence.
Fair. Onus on the athlete, makes sense.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is on the athlete, unless, Yoel Ramiro and you win a big lawsuit,
Yeah.
And hey, by all means, if you do accidentally ingest a tainted supplement, I've even thought, though, quick tangent, like playing 4D chess, if you find out that certain supplements are tainted, you go and buy that supplement on accident and take what they're tainted with. And then if you do get caught, you're like, oh, we were taking this supplement, here, go test it, and tainted supplement.
Sue them and
so I'm sure somebody else has thought about that too. That's come across my mind. Going on to something a little bit less drug tested. Rain O'Neill drops out of Strongest Man on Earth. On the surface, I've not looked deep into this. I don't know how far you looked into this. You're more in a strongman than I am.
Mm-hmm.
On the surface, without any other context, it looks like, I won World's Strongest Man. The events were kind of to my strong suits. Strongest Man on Earth is not to Rain O'Neill's strong suits.
Not at all.
And maybe zeros more than an event or two. And that'd probably be a bad look coming off the World's Strongest Man. So on the surface, it looks like maybe a little bit of saving face.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid take. Before he even accepted his invite for Smo, everybody around him was like, do not do this show. Enjoy your World's Strongest Man. Chill out a little bit, and also, like you said, don't go into a show where you're going to look like not the World's Strongest Man. You need to be able, as a marketing thing, ride this thing out. Make the most money you can. Smo is not the one. And he's also done 3 shows since World's Strongest Man.
Has he now?
He's done, he's in the Strongman Championships League, Champions League. Right. It's across Europe, this whole thing, and it's.
Has he performed well in them?
He's won them all.
Okay, fair enough.
He's dominated.
Good. Well, that's a good look.
Not at all the caliber or level.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he's the only World's Strongest Man guy there.
That's doing those. Okay.
Yeah, so very much doesn't have to train. Very similar to how Mitchell Hooper treats Giant Slap, where he just shows up and wins. And wins. So obviously, that's great for him, and he's doing that because he had prior commitments and things like that. But it does raise an eyebrow with that situation. He's not wanting to do it. The events don't line up well. On the other hand, why did you accept and then drop out? That's a little weird because there was all that controversy with Patty Haynes not getting an invite. He actually, when Rain O'Neill dropped out, Tristan Hoth became the person taking his spot, and then Patty Haynes was given the alternate spot, and he actually turned it down. He said, I don't have enough time. You did this too late. Sorry, I'm not taking my spot. So yeah, I think, and it continues to go back what we've talked about multiple times, is that this show is so heavy and so brutal that we have, how many people is it going to take to drop out of this thing
Right.
before we start having to legitimately looking at this at being too much of a show?
Right. So, him accepting and then dropping out.
Yes.
We're talking about him. Is all publicity good publicity?
Maybe.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying this is what his thought process were, but it's, something else to talk about. I've read other things that, like, he's still got like a day job too, right? Like,
yeah,
he's not full
he
time
sells, like, solar
strongman.
panels or something.
Yeah, something like he got a sales job, and
Yeah.
about obligations that he already had, and but he accepted this,
right?
Like, he accepted the invite is the thing. If you already had prior obligations, you probably shouldn't accept the invite.
Yeah.
I don't know a ton about the situation, but again, on the surface, it seems like, let's say face. And if he's got people in his camp telling him that they're probably on the right track. And I think a lot of people think his win was a fluke. For a rookie to win seemed a little fluky anyway. This is not me taking away anything from him, his performance, he won. But sometimes people around you will say, hey, this might have been your one time. Let's make the most of it. And like you said, marketing,
yeah, because it just looks terrible.
Exposure is money.
Yeah, it looks terrible if you're the world's strongest man, and then the next show you do that actually has legitimately people there, you're zeroing events, you get smoked.
Yeah.
Like, ride this thing out. And I think that the people around him that were telling him not to do it were right.
Yeah.
I think that it would have been, tactically, it would have been good to continue to do your Strongman Championships League things, just keep racking up money, racking up wins, and then go do something like Rogue.
Right. A little more athletic.
Yeah.
Like, suits him a little bit more.
100%.
And continue to build.
Also, a ton of money. Like,
right.
it's
Rogue pays a lot.
Yeah, they pay in the six figures. So, like, if you're gonna do a fall show tactically, that makes a lot of sense. And he's already been announced as I don't know if he's been invited specifically for Rogue, but what Rogue does, Rogue has these like Rogue rankings. They're like worldwide rankings for strongman, and you win so many points based on your different performances for the last 3 years.
Oh, okay.
He's actually ranked 17th, but he's gotten his either invite or like.
Well, I would imagine you win World's Strongest Man. Yeah. You kind of jump the front of the line.
You do jump the line. So he's already that's already lined up and everything like that. So it was just, I think that maybe he just kind of put the cart before the horse and got a little excited.
And that's understandable. I mean, you basically come out of nowhere, win World's Strongest Man, quote unquote overnight, being a rookie. And then you just accept everything from him going, like, fuck, I'm coming up. I couldn't imagine the high of winning World's Strongest Man.
For sure.
And then, having to make decisions soon thereafter. I know, like just doing a local meet or a local show, win or not win, you get that adrenaline rush,
100%.
Being out there and that detracts from you and you feel more like shit the next day because of that than anything physical. So I couldn't imagine, at that level, winning that. So, yeah, I mean, there's a myriad of reasons, but ultimately, I think he made the right choice at the end of the day. Whether he accepted the invite or didn't, can be debated.
Mm-hmm.
Probably shouldn't have accepted it, but not doing it, I think, is the right choice.
Yeah, I think that this will blow over. Like,
oh, of course, that internet forgets in a week.
No one's gonna remember. They're gonna, as soon as the World Strong or Smo's gonna go off, and they're gonna be talking about, because it's not like he has like a ton of fans.
Right.
You know what I mean? He has no social media.
Right.
He came out of nowhere. Not to detract from any outside of the U.S., strongman, but just being outside of the most, the place where the most fans are, people are going to know less about you. So it's not like he is the world's strongest man, but I don't think that he's by any means close to the world's not world's strongest man, but like the most popular world's strongest.
Oh
man
no, he's nowhere in the
You know what I mean?
ballpark.
So
Yeah,
I think it's gonna blow over pretty quick.
I agree.
If he has a really good performance at Rogue, no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
And he'll just keep it moving. And you know, I do think that I was very excited to see him at either Smo or Rogue because I wanted to see if it was real. Especially Smo because I wanted to see if he had those big holes that we were talking about. If he would be
Right.
kind of exposed on a much more well-rounded show.
Right.
Because World's
A
Strongest.
much heavier show.
Yeah, and just you want to kind of find who's the best over them all four big shows as opposed to just kind of
Right.
lessons. So, but we'll see going into Rogue to see how he does. Obviously, he's going to continue to rack up these Strongman Championship League wins and just keep padding the pockets, man. Like, hey, make your bag.
Absolutely. Moving on something a little bit less serious. Liver King is back at the forefront. He has traveled to Austin, Texas, and he wants to fight Joe Rogan, but he's also bringing a gun and wearing tactical vests and got arrested for terroristic threats. And if you've watched any of his videos on Instagram, he is not okay right now.
Yeah, he's in bad shape, dude. Like, I kind of quit paying attention to him after,
I think a lot of us did.
after the Derek stuff.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of pop back in, and he's from being this very confident, loud, bombastic,
Right.
charming, but you know what I mean?
Charismatic
is what I'm going for.
Yeah.
He did well on all those podcasts where he's doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then you come back and he's got people are talking about the one dilated eye.
Right. His face is sunken in.
He's got all these cuts on his face.
Yeah.
He looks bad. I saw a video that he's pooping on the floor in his bathroom to be more primal. He's not using a toilet. He just poops on the floor and picks it up. So
Woo!
yeah, dude is just gone over the edge, and you see the videos of everything where he's threatening Joe Rogan. It's so obvious that he wants to lose too. He does not want to go to Joe Rogan and win. He just wants to fight for the attention. Because he keeps going, "You'll beat my ass. You'll beat my ass. You're so strong." But it's so strange, and the way that he speaks, did you see the video when he was actually getting arrested? He's up in the hotel room, and he's the way that he's speaking. There's the music in the background. It's wow, wow, wow. And he's just talking like a crazy person.
Yeah.
He doesn't make any sense. And his wife is just kind of there. I also didn't realize that she was she almost is I didn't think that she was from a different country. She's almost like a mail order bride. I don't want to. That's that's mean to say. I don't want to put that on there. But I didn't realize she barely speaks English when she was talking in that, and she also seems kind of out there, and it's just seems like a very much an enabler.
I was about to say she seemed way too okay with the situation.
Yeah, it was either
just nonchalantly
either didn't understand or like you said, it's just
I think probably enabler.
Yeah,
because how much what's he worth? Hundreds of millions of dollars. His supplement companies and brands, I think he actually is. So, it's one of those things is she an enabler probably? Is she just going with the flow because money? Is she delusional right along with him? I worry about the kids. He's got kids.
When you saw the boy in the video, he turns around, he's yep, this is the second time you've seen Daddy get arrested. And you're wow,
yeah.
I feel awful. I felt really upset when I saw that. You know what I mean?
That's you, and especially being a father, I couldn't imagine, dealing with that, and especially he's scummy, he's scammed, he's lied, but you financially secured your family for generations. Go be fucking happy. You won.
Yeah.
You fucking won.
And he
fuck the limelight. Fuck the attention. You won. That is winning. Jesus Christ, if I knew my kid and my bloodline was going to be financially secure in perpetuity, short of them being fucking morons, I'm winning at life.
100%.
Why the fuck am I trying to... I don't even want the attention no more. I'm probably turning off my social media outside of only direct friends and family members, and just going and enjoying fucking life.
Right.
Like, Jesus Christ. What more do you want?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's, and that's what it's funny. He used to talk about that. He used to be like, I was rich and anonymous, and it was great. But then I had to get my message out there to be the Liver King. And now I'm rich and famous. But I want to go back to being rich and anonymous once everyone knows about the 9 tenants. And it's like...
He could have! Fucking shave and turn off your fucking social media. Nobody would recognize you.
He had the out. Like, it was literally like he got exposed and he went away. And it's like, you could have just never came back.
Yeah, like that.
Still been...
Cut your hair and put a shirt on. Nobody would ever recognize you.
But,
you could be that, yeah.
But there was obviously something that he had to fulfill in himself that has to be in that limelight. And it's just... It's sad to see. I think that obviously Rogan was incredibly justified in calling the cops.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
That's a crazed individual, and I think everybody knows, like, Joe Rogan could beat him up. It's not about that. He had a gun with him.
He came to town with gold-plated ARs.
Yeah. And the way he's talking, you don't know if he's, like, on drugs, which he probably is. And yeah, absolutely. I mean... At this point in time, what's the point of getting in a fight anyway? Right? Come on now, we're all adults. Like, nobody's gonna win. Somebody's gonna get beat up. You might get hurt while you're beating them up. Cops are gonna get called. I guess they could set up a celebrity fight, but what's the fuck?
What's the positive for Joe?
Like, there's no benefit for Joe Rogan. Beating up the Liver King on camera at all. Like, he's got nothing to gain from it.
Yeah.
And again, bringing the gold-plated AR, wearing tactical vests, the way he was talking, the way he looked, the way he sounded, it was a mess. 100% a mess. And again, I don't feel bad for Liver King at this point. I would hope anybody as a human being can get it turned around. But he's made choices and he's kind of dug his own grave.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And it's on him. Like, he's got to sort it out for himself at this point. And currently, it doesn't appear that he wants to get it sorted out. And he's probably surrounded by yes men that are just enabling the actions because, hey, more attention, more money for us.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the cameramen being like, no, we promise we won't stop recording. We will record you getting arrested. And everyone's just like, yeah, this is great. Like, that's it takes a while to get to that headspace.
Yeah. It's a mess. It's
yeah. I think I saw that he got released. He has to stay 200 feet or 200 yards away from Joe and his family.
Yeah, he posted another video last night.
And then he has to go to like a mental hospital for like 7 days or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I hope some sort of intervention gets him back on the right track.
Yeah.
Or on a track. I don't know that he was ever really on the right track.
Yeah.
He had the documentary on Netflix.
Right.
It seemed like he was doing some pretty scummy shit before he was ever the Liver King too.
Yeah.
So and I've done some scummy shit in my life, not to that level, but everybody can turn it around and
100%.
Hopefully it does, but I don't feel bad for him. I feel bad for his kids,
for sure.
Of course. So before we wrap it up, we still got a little bit of time left. How's your training been going, Ty?
It's been good. I just finished up my 3-month bodybuilding phase.
Excited to.
I'm ready to start. Yeah, I'm done with that. Although it did get to culminate with a. I've been doing deficit deadlifts for the entirety of the bodybuilding phase, like a gnarly, 4 to 6. I don't know how tall.
I'm about to transition to.
I don't know how tall that box is that we use at the gym.
On it, the height. As long as you're using the same thing and progressing, that's the point.
It's a big one. It's not like
it is. It's a big deficit. Yeah.
So I just wanted to do something. I did it last year in my bodybuilding.
4 inches is a lot.
But it's I was just like, let's just go do something hard, not heavy, where we can progress. But was able to progress it up to 4 or 5 for 8, which I was pretty proud of. I hit that for 3 in my last strength phase.
Oh shit!
So there might be something pretty big in there somewhere.
That's cool.
Yeah, pretty pleased with that. Overall, just everything was obviously progressing the way it kind of should and the way I wanted it to. Really hoping that once I get into this strength phase that overhead press strength is there.
Right.
Been doing a ton of technique work with the split jerk. Been working with a a CrossFitter who is he's the 14th ranked CrossFitter in the U.S. He's my buddy Ben, and he's been really trying to help me out with that because I think that I'm never going to be just brute force strong overhead. I've got long arms. I'm not built for it, but if I can get technically sound and kind of eke out some stuff that way, I think might be my best bet. So really hoping to see some cool stuff now that we're going to go back in this ring.
Awesome. I'm actually finishing out my block pulls. Last week I did 545 against the band, and I don't know how much band tension. It's been the same setup the whole time, much like his deficit. As long as it's the same, you're progressing. I'm looking to maybe next week or the week after pull 600 with the wagon wheels. And that would be the first 600 pull of any kind of me in a long time. And traditionally, my deadlift off the floor has always been stronger than my wagon wheel or block pull. So that would bode well for that. And then I intend on going to deficit deadlifts and doing a building phase with those afterwards. I tapped out my nemesis in jiu-jitsu class.
Hell yeah.
It's a fellow white belt, but he's got a few stripes. He's been there like a year and a half or so, and he kicks my ass a lot. Sometimes I can win positions and outlast him from time to time just physically, but I've never been able to tap him. But I finally got to tap him, so he's up probably 25 taps to my one. But I got one.
What'd you get him with?
Just a fucking pain. Like a modified head arm triangle in my shoulder and his jaw.
There you go.
But he smother taps me all the time to fucking dumb shit like that. So I didn't feel bad at all. And it was coming right off of one of those taps.
Yeah.
And I maybe put a little extra oomph into passing his guard. That was fun. And I also did jiu-jitsu 3 days in a row last week. It was the first time I did that, and I definitely am feeling that today. I went Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it showed in my training session this morning. It even showed Thursday, after we did fundamentals and we went to open mats. I wasn't worth a fuck. So I did want to redact, that very first episode we did. I was like, oh, my conditioning was fine.
Yeah, I remember you tearing me down when I was like, yeah, it's really hard. And you're like, I'm fine.
Yeah, and I was. But now, 3 days in a row, for the first time, I wasn't ready. Previously, I had done 3 days in a week, but not 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
And it was the hottest week of the year.
For sure.
Fucking sweating balls.
It also gets harder as you get better because you can do more.
Yeah.
Like, you used to just, get smothered and beat up and you're on the bottom. It's like, I get tapped every 20 seconds. Right. A little break. This is fine. But then, once you actually start having competitive rounds where you end up, you're grappling for the full 5-minute round. Right. It intensifies.
And of course, we're probably still using a little bit more strength and muscle than technique, so we're gassing ourselves
100%.
Even more. Wednesday night I was rather proud of myself. This was the day after I tapped my nemesis, but I went in open mat, blue belt, brown belt, purple belt, and then another blue belt who should probably be a purple belt. He routinely taps the brown belts. He's really good. I think there might be a little bit of sandbagging with his belt promotions, but he's super good. And I held my own very well, a lot better than I normally have, and had good rolls with a lot of those guys. And I even got a few compliments. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then the next day, I was absolutely fucking worthless.
That's funny.
But yeah. Anything else you want to add before we go? Follow Ty on Instagram.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram, Ty Spires 8. If you're within an hour radius, come to our Big Money Log Lift Challenge. It's a pretty sick Slater log. There's stuff really all over our Instagrams. You can win $250 if you are the big strong guy or you're the light big strong guy. So it's gonna be fun. It's at a distillery. There's gonna be barbecue over there, beer.
Yeah. It'll be a good time.
It's gonna be a blast. Yeah, and you get to, kind of perform in front of the audience there. So they've got a pretty good setup over at Tennessee Hills. So it'll be really fun. It's on Iron Podium. I think right now it's just called Tennessee Hills Log Lift Challenge, but I wanted to throw in big money so people knew.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna change the name of it.
If I make an extra $1 or $2, I might jump in it. We'll see.
But yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. And we are even talking about doing some like side bet stuff of maybe like the we got the Rogue Beam, like double overhand deadlift, something like that. Maybe do some
that'd be
farmers
cool.
handles.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like a couple of things. So
Kind of like the old beer house vibe.
for sure, and stuff that like patrons
Right,
there
can come
can
up
just
and
like
do.
jump
Yeah,
in and like
yeah,
throw $5 at it, and if you get the most,
Right.
we'll give you a gift card because we want it to be really interactive.
Yeah.
Obviously, we want the strongman to have fun, but we also want to just kind of like build some momentum because we got some fun stuff coming in the fall with our actual shows. So if you guys are in town or anywhere close, come out, hang out with us. Dennis may show up, or he may just tell me he's gonna show up and then not, like he always does.
We'll see.
I'm gonna be there so we can hang out and lift some logs. So it'll be
My
fun.
girlfriend is moving closer to this direction. Typically on Saturdays, I drive an hour to go see her. She's in the process of moving a little closer to here, so the chances I do it are improved.
But yeah, other than that, I think that's it.
Like, share, subscribe, motherfuckers!
Oh man!
Turn off.